Hey guys, it's Mike from CIM System USA. We're the software developer for the SUM3D Dental CAM software, and today I'd like to give you an introduction to our SUM3D Dental CAM user interface. So we'll go ahead and start out by opening up SUM3D. And generally SUM3D has 5 different interface levels that can be toggled depending on the CAM aptitude of that particular user. Now we have the low and light levels of the interface, which actually provide the highest level of automation. Users that have never used CAM software in general, this is where you're going to want to start out. We also have the medium level interface, which provides the same level of automation as the low and the light, but give access to many more tools and features as you're going through your workflow. The high and maximum interfaces still have levels of automation, but will prompt the user for most operations, and there is much more information being displayed throughout the processing stage. This level is for expert users within the CAM software that can use or change these parameters depending on the complexity of the case. So today we have the software in the lowest level interface to show you the simplicity of the CAM as we simply go through and explain what each area of the CAM software is for. So first we're going to start by looking here at the very top of the screen. We have the SUM3D Dental software, and it has an indication of a CAM file name. So basically what this is the project name of the file that we're working on. Usually it's going to be dated and also time stamped by the time that file was created. Now directly below that we have our viewing toolbar, and essentially what this does is it gives us a couple different options for coming in and changing what we're looking at on the screen. View-wise, zooming in, zooming out, things of those sorts. We also have some tool visualizations. We can also do simulations outside of our simulation tool, which we'll get into in future videos. We also have some rendering options to turn things on or off, make some restorations transparent if we wanted to look through those in general. We also have the ability to go to preset views to look at this object, so just like any other CAM software that you would expect to see this in. And that basically covers what we have in the viewing toolbar at the top. The next set of tools that we have here is the workflow wizard. Now we're not going to go through and explain what each one of these buttons do, as these will be covered in future videos. However, this is where you're going to be doing primarily all of your workflow in terms of processing the job, as well as optional steps and simulation after you've done calculated the job. And of course we have our equipment and nesting area. So essentially what this allows us to do is visualize along with the fixture where these restorations are going to be nested. This allows us to organize things for milling, and if need be, change the orientation of objects within the disc and the stock as we're going through and getting ready to mill this object. And next we have our secondary toolbar down here at the bottom of the screen. What this basically allows us to do is use some secondary features that aren't necessarily necessary to get through the processing of a single job. However, they do provide us some additional options, such as modifying the way that we trim our support pins after the job has been done milling, all the way up to detecting the margin, manually specifying the margin line, as well as creating reports and estimating milling time calculations to see how long it's going to take to mill out on the actual machine. So the last item that I'd like to show you guys is the lower information bar, and we're basically going to see this typically start out as blank when you start a new CAM file, because what's happening is as you're processing this job more and more, and as you get through the different stages, more of this information will populate, and by the end of the processed run, you're going to have something similar to what you see on my screen. So just to kind of explain what each of these fields mean to you, we're going to start here at this FC Crown 1. This basically shows the name of the last STL file that was imported during the processing of this particular job. The next item over is going to be the name of the cutting strategy. So this is the one that's been imported for the milling process. So our next item over would be zirconium, or in this particular case, the material name that we're using for the milling process. So if we selected wax or PMMA, it would just simply say wax or PMMA. Now, the next item over is going to be the stock or the blank name. Now, this is going to be completely dependent upon how you name your stock. So let's say, for instance, you name your zirconium material all as Zircon 1, 2, 3, 4. You're going to see those names populate here as you select those partially used stock in the future or after you've created your disk. The next item over that we have is the actual thickness of that particular disc. So depending on if it's a 16, 18 millimeter, 12 millimeter, 10 millimeter, that numerical value is going to display right here. And the next item that we have is the shrinkage or enlargement factor. So what this is going to display for us is either a numerical or a percentage based shrinkage factor or enlargement factor. And that's going to be down there for us to display and match up to the disk. Make sure that that's always correct. If you ever run into fit issues, this would be a good place to come and open up that file and look and verify that the shrinkage factor is indeed correct.
So this concludes our brief introduction to the SUM3D Dental CAM's user interface. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and if you have any questions, be sure to check out our website at www.sum3ddental.com. Thanks for watching.